Hi lovelies, you're welcome back to my channel. If you're a returning subscriber, you're welcome back and I appreciate. So I'm going to be making a shirt. I made use of 2.5 inches for the button part. Now I'll go ahead and fold this button part this way, and then I'm going to go ahead and mark out the hip measurement, which I divided by 4 to get 13. So I'm adding one part of it. Then I'll go ahead to add 2 inches as allowance. So this is how you get the wideness of the shirt when you want to cut. After doing that, now I'll go ahead and mark out 28 inches. So 27 inches is the main length of the shirt, but I went ahead to mark out 28 inches because I'm going to be using 1 inch for the folding at the down. Now I'll go ahead and rule a straight line on that point there. So I'll be using this line as my shoulder line. Now from that my shoulder line, I will come down to 12 inches for my bust line, and then I'll come down to 18 inches for my waistline. Now this waistline is not really necessary. It's only necessary when you want it to have like a shape at the waist part. But if you're making this straight, there is no need for you to add a waistline. Now I'm going to go ahead and label this my shoulder line, bust line, waistline, and lastly my full length line. And this part here is the button allowance of 2.5 inches, which I folded already. So now I'm going to be making use of 18 inches for the shoulder measurement. So 18 inches divided by 2 will give me 9 inches. I'm going to go ahead and mark that 9 inches there. I'm going to be making use of 3 inches for the wideness of the neck, and then 3 inches for the depth of the neck. I'll go ahead and connect both points together this way. Now from the place I marked the shoulder measurement, I'll come down by 1 inch, and this is for the shoulder slope. I'll connect it this way, and then I'll mark the armhole measurement divided by 2, which gives me 9 inches. Now I'll connect both points this way from the shoulder slope point. Now I will still connect it this same way, and this is the chest line here. Now I'll go ahead and divide what I have on that armhole line by 2, and then I will come in by ½ inch and connect it this way. So after doing that, the next thing I will do is to take my bust measurement that I divided by 4. I'll give one part to my chest line. Also, take the same 12 inches for my bust line. Then I came to the waistline. I minus 1 inches and made use of 11 inches. Then on the hip line, I made use of 13 inches. That is the hip circumference divided by 4. Now I'll go ahead and connect them together. After doing that, as you can see now, the waist is a little bit snatched in. But if you don't want this to have like a shape at the waist part, just go ahead and connect it this way straight down to your hip point there, your hip circumference measurement there. But if you want this to have like a little shape on the waist part, you can also do it the same way I just did it. Now if you want this to have like a curve, you can come up by 1 inch from that your side part, and then connect it this way, curve it this way. So you can make use of this shape pattern with the curve at the down, or you can make use of the straight pattern with the curve at the down. Or if you prefer the shaped pattern without any curve at the down, or the straight pattern without any curve at the down, go ahead and make your own choice. So I've gone ahead to add 1.5 inches allowance. You can make use of ½ inch for the allowance. You can make use of 1 inch for the allowance. This is totally optional. I'll go ahead to cut this out, and then I will proceed to cut the back part. So this is the shape I'm making use of. I'm not making use of a curved shape at the down, only a snatched waist at the waistline part. So when sewing the bottom part, I will fold first by ½ inch and then fold by 1 inch, meeting that 2.5 inches I left for the bottom part. Now the next place I'll be working on is the shoulder point. I'll come down by 1 inch, and then I will rule a straight line on that point, on that 1 inch point I came down by. So later I'm going to be cutting this out, but I will need it to cut out the back part. So I made sure the back pattern paper is longer than the front pattern in length, because 1 inch is going to come from the back towards the front side. Now I'll mark 1 inch upwards from the front shoulder line. As you can see, I'll go ahead to connect it this way, and then go ahead to rule the back shoulder line. Now the main back neck depth is 1 inch, plus that 1 inch that will be coming from the back to the front part, making 2 inches. Now I'll go ahead and connect it to the 3 inches wideness of the neck. I'll cut this out and then proceed to cut the 1 inch I marked out from the front. So I'll go ahead and cut this out, and then I'll bring that 1 inch from the back, meeting the front part. And this is how it is. I'll go ahead and cut this armhole part this way. I won't cut this closer to the front armhole part, just like this, and then I will cut the same shape with the front. And this is one way to cut a shirt easily, as you can see. So you're going to be cutting this by 2. You're going to cut this in 4. This is the back part. So I'll go ahead to cut it on the material. As you can see, I've done that already. I just left, this is the back part. I only left allowance, half inches allowance at the side, the neck and the armhole. I didn't leave at the down part. I went ahead to do the same thing on the front part. Now to sew this, go ahead and join the two shoulder, right side facing right side, just as you see me doing this way. This is one side of the front part. I will join it at the shoulder part this way. I will do the same thing. I'll bring the other part of the side. I will also join it at the shoulder. Now I've done it, and this is how it's looking like. The next thing I'm going to do now is to sew the button part. So I went in, I fold by half inch, and then I fold by 1 inch again. I'll go ahead and sew this down. I'll do the same thing for the other side. Now I'm done sewing the button part. As you can see how neat this is looking already. Now I've done it for the other part too. This is how it is. The next thing I'm going to do now is to cut out the collar for this shirt. So this is the front, the 1 inch that came to the front part from the back. This is the 1 inch for the other side also. Now I'll go ahead and cut out the collar part. I'm going to measure round neck of this shirt this way from the button side. So after measuring the round neck of this shirt, what I'm having is 19 and a quarter inches. After doing that, I'll fold this by 2 to get the middle point at the back, and then I went ahead to notch it. Now to cut the collar, I'm going to be cutting the collar stand first. So I divided that 19 and a quarter inches by 2. So whatever I'm having there, I'm going to place this on my pattern paper. Already this pattern paper is folded by 2. Now I've gone ahead to mark out the measurement that I divided by 2. Now I'm going to go ahead and come up by half inch. Now I'll divide whatever I have there by 2. I'll get the midpoint, and then I'll connect it this way from that half inch meeting that midpoint. Now the next thing I will do is to mark 1.5 inches upwards this way. You can make use of 1 inch if you want. After doing that, I'll go ahead and then I'll connect those points together. And then I'll go ahead to connect it again this way. So the next thing I will do is to go in by half inch from the top, and then I'll just connect it this way with my free hand. And this is all for the collar stand. I'll go ahead to cut this out, and then also draft out the collar itself. Now to cut out the collar, I folded this my pattern paper by two, and then I measured half of the 19 and the quarter inches. I mark a point there. Now I'll go ahead and rule a straight line on that point there, and then I'm making use of 2.5 inches. You can make use of 2 inches if you want. This is how wide I want it to be. Go ahead and rule a straight line on that point. Now from this other part here, I'm going to come up by half inch. Now I'll divide what I have here by 2 to get the midpoint. Now after getting the midpoint, I'll connect from that midpoint, meeting that half inch that I came up by on the other part this way. Then from this other side here, I'll go in by 1 inch, and then I'll connect it in a slant method, meeting the top of the collar. Now this is all for this collar. I'll go ahead to cut this out. So this is the collar and the collar stand. I'll go ahead and place this on my stay and cut the same shape all around. Now after cutting the stay to it, I'll go ahead to cut out the fabric and the replica. Now this is the for the collar. As you can see, one is containing the stay, one does not have stay. And this is the collar stand. One has stay and one does not have gum stay, with half-inch sewing allowance all round. Now I'll bring the replica, I'll place it right side facing the right side, and I will sew it this way. Now I'm done sewing it. I'll go ahead and turn this to the right side. After doing that, I'll go ahead and sew it this way, the down part. Now I'm done sewing the down part. I'll go ahead and notch the middle point. I'll also notch the middle point of the collar stand, both the replica and the one with the gum stay. Now after doing that, as you can see here, this is the one with the stay, the gum stay. I'll go ahead and face it, the right side will be facing me, and then I'll place this way. Then I will make sure is the middle part is of the collar is facing the middle part of the collar stand. Now I'll place the replica of the collar stand on this way. I'll make sure the notches I made is facing each other, and then sew it this way with half-inch that I left when I was cutting the gum stay on the fabric, so it won't shorten the main measurement. Now after sewing this is how it's looking. As you can see, I'll go ahead now to notch the middle point. Now I'll place, this is the shirt, I'm going to place the collar stand that does not have any stay, that is a replica of the collar stand, right side facing right side with the shirt. I'll make sure the notches align together with the back and the collar stand. Now I'll go ahead and pin this down to the bottom part. I'll also do the same thing for the other side. So after I'm done pinning this all around, I'll go ahead and sew this together. So this is how it's looking. As you can see, this is how it's looking. I'll go ahead to top stitch this with half-inch allowance that I left. So I'll first of all pin this down with my pin, so I will get an accurate middle point. As you can see, that point that I notched, I will make sure it's facing each other. Then I'll go ahead to top stitch on it. So make sure you use your pin to pin this down before you top stitch on it, because this is a chiffon material. So now I'm done top stitching it, and this is how it is looking. As you can see, So I'll go ahead and attach the sleeve to it. I'll be dropping a tutorial on how to cut a shirt sleeve, but because I don't want this video to be too long, that's why I didn't show that particular part. But I'll go ahead now to attach the sleeve. So I marked the notch point of the sleeve and also a notch at the shoulder part. So I'll go ahead and make sure the two notches are facing each other correctly. I'll go ahead to pin this down. So because this is a chiffon, that's the reason why I'm pinning this down. So after doing that, I'll go ahead and sew it round. Now I'm done attaching the hand to it, and this is how it's looking. This is how it came out. I'll go ahead now to shape this with 1.5 inches allowance that I left when I was drafting it on my pattern paper. So I'll go ahead and mark out the 8.5 inches for the roundness of my sleeve, that is making 17 inches. Now I'll go ahead and use 1.5 inches to sew this down. So it depends on how many inches, or if it's 1 inch or half inch that you left as the allowance, just go ahead and use it to shape this to the down part. Then if you want to give this slit at the down part, you can just come up by 5 inches or 4 inches and stop the shaping there. Then you fold it. So after I'm done shaping it, I went ahead to use 1 inch to fold the down part. So if this have like a rough mouth, go ahead and fold it by half inch, then by another half inch. But because this does not have a rough mouth, that's the reason why I'm folding it by 1 inch this way. Now this is how it is after I'm done folding the down part. And this is how my shirt is looking like. I'll place a button there, then from this point here I'll come down by 2 inches. I'll place another button there. So from here now I'm going to be coming down by 3.5 inches. From that 3.5 inches I'll come down by another 3.5 inches. So this is how I'm going to do this to the down part. So I'm just going to leave like 3 inches allowance at the down part because I don't want the button to get to the down part. Then I'll go ahead and on the other side of the shirt I'll create my button hole. So I'll go ahead and place my button this way all the way to the down part where I marked out. And then this is all for this shirt, guys. As you can see, please don't forget to subscribe, share, comment and like. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.